ألم ترى عيني مثله ولم ترى، أي أنه كان يلتفت إلى المرء إذا أراد فينظر إليه جميعا بوجهه، وإذا أدبر جميعا، لم يلتفت التفاتا خفيفة، أقبل المرء بكله. This hadith, one of the Sahaba describing what he saw, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his character, he said his eyes, his eyelashes were long, and part of it that when he's addressing someone, he turns in totality to him. So he's talking to him, he's not just going to turn his neck, all his body go to him. And when he turns around all of him. Somebody call him from the back. So he gives his total attention to the person that he needs to address. باب المستشار مؤتمن. حدثنا آدم حدثنا شيبان أبو معاوية حدثنا عبد الملك بن عمير عن أبي سلمة بن عبد الرحمن عن أبي هريرة قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لأبي الهيثم وهو مالك بن تيهان الأنصاري: هل لك خادم؟ قال لا. قال: فإذا أتانا سبي فأتنا. فأتي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم برأسين ليس معهما ثالث، فأتاه أبو الهيثم. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: اختر منهما. قال يا رسول الله اختر لي. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: المستشار مؤتمن، خذ هذا فإني رأيته يصلي واستوصي به خيرا. فقالت امرأته: ما أنت ببالغ ما قال فيه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلا أن تعتقه. قال: فهو عتيق. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن الله عز وجل لم يبعث نبيا ولا خليفة إلا وله بطانتان: بطانة تأمره بالمعروف وتنهاه عن المنكر، وبطانة لا تأله خبالا، ومن يوق بطانة السوء فقد وقي. This hadith in the chapter of when somebody asks you for an opinion, for an advice, you are trusted to give him the honest opinion. So the hadith relates where there's one of the Sahaba, Abu al-Haytham, Malik ibn Tayhan, he was talking to Rasulullah sallallahu. So he asked him, do you have anybody to serve you? He said no. He said, okay, once we got servants coming to us, then come to me. And then once they had captured enemies, they became slaves, and he called him, come and choose. There were only two of them. He said, choose one of them. And he said, you choose for me, the Prophet of Allah. He said, when you ask somebody to choose for you, to advise you, he's trusted. I would advise take this person because I've seen him praying. So he's more devout, he's more righteous. So, and take good care of him. استوصي به خيرا. So I advise you to take good care of him. So when he brought him home, he said to his wife, there's no way I can take good care of him except that I free him. He said, you are free for the sake of Allah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he heard that, he said that every prophet, every leader will have two kinds of advisors. Those who are trustworthy and good, you only tell him to do what is good and tell him to avoid what is bad. And then there is another kind of advisors, they don't care. They wouldn't care to tell him right or wrong. They only tell him what is his benefit. And whoever can avoid the bad company, then Allah has protected him. So hear about the part where somebody asks you for an advice, you be truthful. But always, especially when somebody becomes in a position of power, he's going to have good advice and bad advice. There are people who do things honestly, you listen to them, and those who have an agenda behind them. They want something, either personal, they might be enemies, or they might be just selfish. They want things for themselves. So one need to be careful who advise. But you as a person, somebody advises you, asks you for an advice, you give him an honest advice. باب المشورة. حدثنا صدقة قال حتى أخبرنا ابن عيينة عن عمر بن حبيب عن عمرو بن دينار قال قرأ ابن عباس وشاورهم عدا في الأمر وشاورهم في بعض الأمر. هذه في رواية قراءة ابن مسعود وشاورهم في بعض الأمر، وقراءة الجمهور وشاورهم في الأمر، ومنهم من نسبها إلى ابن مسعود. وحدثنا آدم ابن أبي إياس حدثنا حماد بن زيد عن السري عن الحسن قال والله ما استشار قوم قط إلا هدوا لأفضل ما بحضرتهم ثم تلا وأمرهم شورى بينهم. So the chapter about you ask for advice. Rasulullah sallam was ordered in the Quran وشاورهم في الأمر, asking for mashura, for opinion. Ibn Abbas and Ibn Mas'ud in some narration they read it and asking for advice in certain matters. So things you're not sure of, you about the right decision. Sometimes right and wrong is clear. You know what is the right decision. But sometimes you're not sure which will be the best course of action. So you would ask for advice from people around you. And another ayah, Allah is praising the believers, وَأَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ, and their matters are a kind of advice and discussion among them. So shura in Islam for the leader is kind of two kinds. There is shura mulzima wa shura ghayru mulzima. There is an opinion that is not binding, an opinion that is binding. An opinion that's not binding, that's done in private. You ask different people for different opinion, you listen to them, you choose whatever you choose. The shura that is binding is almost like voting. You get all the prominent people, and usually it's done for major problems like peace, war, and stuff like this. You bring the people of importance, the one that will make the decisions, the one who's going to finance, the one who's going to fight, and so on. Say, should we fight or should not fight? If they all come to a consensus, or the majority come to consensus, it becomes binding. And we have the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like the Battle of Uhud, when he asked the Sahaba, should they fight? Because remember, the Kuffar were defeated in Badr. So they came next year to fight. And this time they were ready with a big army. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he asked them, should we wait until they come for us, fight them? Or should we go and meet them outside Medina? So they started back and forth saying, some told him, we are better defended in Medina. We have our own houses, we know our alleys, we can defend it better. And so no, we're not going to let them get close to our homes and so on. So the ones who missed the fighting in Badr, they wanted to fight. So the majority came to the consensus, okay, let's go and fight. So Rasulullah goes to his home, he wears his armor, comes out, and they feel that they pressured him. He wasn't in that opinion. Say, okay, whatever you want, we don't want to fight. Say, no, once a prophet wears his armor, he has to go to fighting. So in this case, he was leading towards they shouldn't go out, wait for them, because now they know the battlefield better than the enemy. But since the majority wanted fighting, he go with them. So it became binding. He has to follow it. And this is what will happen with the leader. So when you have an important matter, he asks people privately, each will give him his honest opinion. He will listen, take or not. But once it's public, and they have Ahlul Halli wal Aqd, the people that the words matter, they have control. So he's not going to ask farmers, he's not going to ask servants, he's going to ask the people who have leadership positions, people who's going to lead physically, financially, they have an influence, their opinion matters. So these are the people. This is the kind of democracy in Islam. So the leader will ask the people of prominent positions of their opinion, so they will be behind him. It's not a dictatorship, but at the same time, he's not going to ask everybody for their opinion. If it's a matter of agriculture, he's going to ask farmers about agriculture. Matter of trade, he's going to ask merchants about trade. If it's a matter of building, he's going to ask about a matter of fighting, he's going to ask certain people. So every matter, he's going to ask the people that matters. فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون. You ask the people of reminder. People say here the people of knowledge. So everybody in his field of knowledge, you will ask him in matters that's important. As individuals, every time you're not sure about something, ask for advice. And if one person advice isn't enough, you might ask more than one person. You need to ask the person two things. Hafiz wajib, that you tell what is right, tell people what is right, and forbidden what even you yourself not doing it. So somebody is addict to alcohol. Some asking about alcohol, say alcohol is haram. I'm addicted to it, I'm asking Allah to help me get rid of it, but it is haram, don't do it. Somebody took a loan and he's committing riba. Somebody asking about loans, you say riba is haram. I have a situation, hope that Allah forgive me, I was in darura, I was in dire need and so on, but riba is haram. And whatever problem it is, you should be honest, even if you yourself have a problem with it. Let's say a doctor smoke. Somebody asking, what do you think about smoking? Say, smoking is bad for you. I'm addicted to smoking, I cannot stop, it's bad. Don't look at me, don't smoke. And things like this. Somebody doesn't exercise, ask a doctor, you need to exercise. He's in fact, he doesn't exercise. Yeah, I'm out of shape, I don't exercise, but it's better for you to exercise. So you give the honest opinion, even if you yourself don't do it. Now, of course, it's more likely you'll be responded to if you're following your advice. If they see you that you're healthy, taking care of yourself, and so yeah, they will take your opinion. You see somebody who's really trying to follow Islam and then give an advice, people are more likely to listen to you. But just because you have a fault in yourself, it doesn't mean you do not advise people to do the right thing. وحدثنا عبد الله بن يزيد حدثنا سعيد بن أبي أيوب قال حدثني بكر بن عمرو عن أبي عثمان مسلم بن يسار عن أبي هريرة قال قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من تقول علي ما لم أقل فليتبوأ مقعده من النار. هذا القسم من الحديث صحيح بشواهد أخرى. القسم الآخر ضعيف. ومن استشاره أخوه المسلم فأشار عليه بغير رشد فقد خانه. ومن أفتى فتي بغير ثبت فإثمه على من أفتاه. هذا القسم الثاني ضعيف في السند وإن كان المعنى فيه صحة. This hadith, there are parts in it. The first part, it is sahih because there's multiple ahadith in the meaning. Whoever claims saying of Prophet ﷺ and he didn't say it, then he's going to have a seat in hellfire. So whether this is hadith, Rasulullah said this and he done this and so on, he intentionally fabricating hadith, he's going to go to hell. The rest of the hadith, it's weak, the sanad of it. If somebody asks another brother and he give him an advice without knowledge, then he has betrayed him. Whoever give fatwa without being sure of it, and it's wrong, the sin on the one that gave the fatwa. It's partially true, but the sanad of it, the narration is weak. When you ask someone and he gives you the wrong advice, you as an individual, you need to know, is this person worthy of fatwa first, to ask him. If he's a person of knowledge, to ask him. If you ask a random person, you know somebody who's lenient, he always gives kind of odd fatwa, just make things uneasy in people, and you don't say, oh, it's on him, I'm going to follow it. Ask somebody about alcohol, and say, as long as you don't get drunk, it's okay. What is that? This is haram. And same thing about riba, same thing about a lot of matters. You know it's not good. It's not enough, oh, I have a sheikh who told me that. And if a sheikh told me that, it's on him. No, it's on you. Now, if you've done your best, you ask the most knowledgeable person that you know of, and he gave you a wrong, and you have no doubt about it, you have no reason to doubt it, then he's responsible. But it's up to you also. When you ask, you need to know who you're asking.
ده الشيء الاول. ثانيا ما يكونش شخص متبع لهواه، ما يكونش عارف ان الشيخ بيفتي كده قبل السؤال.
brother asking us that he's not shopping for fatwa. So if he wants to have riba, he's not going to look, oh, I know which sheikh usually say riba is halal, I'm going to ask him. I know which sheikh doesn't have a beard, I'm going to ask him about what's fatwa of beard. Or there's a woman that don't have hijab, I'm going to ask him what is the fatwa in hijab. Because I know he's going to give me the lenient, less correct opinion. So it's your responsibility to find the one who's going to give me the right thing. You're not going to look for the one who's most extreme. You're not going to look for the most lenient. You're looking for the one who's going to give you the best one that follows the Quran and Hadith. It might be more extreme, could be more lenient. It doesn't matter. Whatever the order of Allah, this is what you want to know. You're following the truth. You're not following what fits you, what you want for yourself.
The length of the beard and how much we are allowed to like cut it.
Yeah. So, beard, mustache, and these matters are considered originally. I'm going to go you through the logic of it, how we're going to reach the consensus. It starts as it's a matter of dunya, the way you dress and so on. So originally, it's halal, you do whatever you want with it. That's initially. But then came Rasulullah sallam, his order, he said, we are ordered to grow the beard, trim the mustache. So it's a wajib to trim the beard, to trim the mustache and grow the beard. And it became one of the sunan al-fitra. It's higher than a sunnah wajib mu'akkada. Fitra should be a normal instinct that every man should have a beard and the mustache should not be long. Now, what is the limit of it? There's no report of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam how long his beard was. The only narration we have from Abu Huraira, Ibn Mas'ud, and I think two more Sahabi, that every time their beard was longer than a handful, they would cut it. So that tells you, although it's not a hadith, but it's the action of Sahaba that are knowledgeable and they're known to stick to the Sunnah, and they never let it grow more than a handful, that it is probably should not grow more than a handful. So when you grab your beard, anything longer than a handful should be cut short. Now some people, their beards never grow. If people grow up from their youth, never cut the beard, almost never gonna get to be a handful. If they grow up not growing it, just shaved it for years, and then start growing, it's gonna grow long. Now, some describe Umar radiallahu anhu, his beard was so big that from the back you can see it. It doesn't tell us the length of it. So, wallahu alam, you have the more likely, you shouldn't let it go more than a handful. You have in the Hanbali madhab, it says you don't touch it, you don't touch it. Even gonna touch the ground, you don't touch it. But the action of the Sahaba, that they didn't let it grow that big. And I was reading once a cynical book written by Ibn al-Jawzi, Akhbar al-Hamqa wal-Mughaffalin. He was talking, it's like a joke book, and he's making fun of people making mistakes. And almost always, anybody has a beard longer than a handful, they describe him being a little bit less IQ, not less intelligent. They say if this grows too much, it's going to drain the brain. So they always think, and they would describe, oh, this person was odd and his beard was very long. And always, anytime the beard is longer than a handful, they made fun of him. And he's like in the Abbasi time. So you're talking about 200, 300 years after Hijrah. So it was the common knowledge, you shouldn't let it grow more than a handful. So, wallahu alam, it's better, it shouldn't grow that. Now, shorter than this, there's here the disagreement. It shouldn't be trimmed to a level of non-Muslims. So if there is a sect or a religion that they are known to have their beard in a certain way, and if you grow it that way, people think you belong to them, then it's haram to do it that way. If there are people of known to be fasiq, the people of sinners, rock stars, movie stars, drug addicts, whatever it is, and they grow their beards or their hair in a certain way, and you imitate them, and people think you're part of it, then it is haram to do it this way. So there are some cultural differences, sometimes will guide you in these matters. Does that satisfy you?
Yes. Yeah. The second question is,
yeah.
Is there a way to some people shape, they would shave on the cheek.
Yeah. So there's prohibition for women to remove the facial hair. So the ulama said it is more bigger for men to remove the facial hair. Women have more need for beauty. So for a woman to pluck her eyebrows or remove facial hair, she's prohibited. Then a man is same thing. But the neck, there is no prohibition. So you can trim it from under the jawline the way you like, as long as it doesn't resemble non-Muslims or a fasiq, somebody's sinner. But from the face, it shouldn't be trimmed. Saying that, some ulama, they do. You look at some known mashayikh and hafiz and so on, they have kind of trim lines and so on. So these are matters of ijtihad. The ijtihad, wallahu alam, it is better that the face, the ones in the cheek, you don't touch it. You trim your mustache and you can trim from the back here, you can trim the sides and so on. But you need to have it sizable. Let's put it this way. But minimum, some beard is better than no beard. So if somebody is growing up in a culture where they don't grow big beards, and he has a mild beard, that's better than no beard. The only time you would shave the beard, if it's gonna get you in real trouble. Like some people grow up in certain countries that are anti-religion. If you have a beard, they're gonna throw you in prison or worse. Then, yeah, there's the danger in that. Very few countries this happens to them. Most people, they're gonna be able to grow a beard, some sort of a beard.
Still you can live if they push it. I think I hear in Libya or something, some country before, they don't like the beer.
Yeah.
So still you can leave the beer or whatever they say you can follow. Or
if there's if there's real danger, not perceived danger. We're talking about real danger. People.
Some countries they don't need it. If you do like this one.
Yeah.
Because, for example, last year before 1 year or something, I go Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go Egypt, I want to cut my.
Yeah.
I want to cut my hair.
Yeah.
So.
And they wanted to shave your beard.
I don't know. The government, nobody asking.
Yeah.
But the people.
Yeah.
Because they think I'm not speaking Arabic. I listen Arabic.
Yeah.
And they say after they see this one, this is the Ikhwan and Muslims.
Yeah. So that's so
they say like that. So this one is normal. I answer for them because this is Muslim country. I'm from America. Still nobody talks. You guys still fighting with Facebook. Go job, I told them.
Yeah.
And then nobody speak.
Yeah.
So, but some countries, the government, they push you.
Yeah. So in Egypt,
what you have to do.
So
exactly.
Egypt and most Arab countries, it's perceived danger, not real danger.
You're not doing it.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people who grow beard, no problem. What they look at your political affiliation. If you're affiliated with one Muslim, you're going to be in trouble, whether you have a full beard or no beard. It used to be only Ikhwan Muslimin grow it, but nowadays almost everybody grow a beard, so it's became not a sign for it. Same thing in my country. When I grow up, at a certain point, only Ikhwan Muslimin grow it. If you grow a beard, you go into prison. But then later everybody grew it. It became a fashion. So they don't care. They look at your political leanings. Are you anti-government? You're in trouble. You're not anti-government, keep an eye on you. That's basically it.
السبعينات برضه يا شيخ كان فكره التكفير والهجره منتشر فكان نتيجه لذلك اي حد بيربي دخيله كان.
Yeah, so things develop, but some people, once they get a perceived idea, they don't change it. Or they say 20, 30 years ago, anybody with a beard, they were catching them, put them in prison and so on. They keep that idea when it's not a fact. So you do your best trying to stick to the sunnah. And at some point, I know some people, when they serve in the military, they don't allow them to have a beard.
Yeah.
Well, you're forced. So this way, you're doing it because you're forced, not because you choose. So when you have a choice, you want to follow the sunnah. If you're muttar darura, where there's real danger on you, then it's on them, whoever forced you. باب التحاب بين الناس. حدثنا اسماعيل بن ابي ويس قال حدثني اخي عن سليمان بن بلال عن ابراهيم بن ابي اسيد عن جده عن ابي هريره عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: والذي نفسي بيده لا تدخلوا الجنه حتى تسلموا ولا تسلموا حتى تحابوا وافشوا السلام تحابوا وإياكم والبغضة فإنها هي الحالقة لا أقول لكم تحلق الشعر ولكن تحلق الدين. هذا الحديث انظر في سنده بعضه صحيح وبعضه لا. In this hadith, this is about people should be kind and show kindness to one another. Rasulullah sallam, he swears by the one that his soul in his hand. That means he's swearing by Allah, knowing that he controls life and death. So that tells you it's something important, and he gives an oath with that. That you will not go to Jannah until you have full Islam. You believe in Allah fully, total in Islam. And you're not going to be full Muslim until you love one another. And if you want to love one another, spread salam. Every time you see someone, say salam alaikum. People of arrogance, they only make salam to their class, to their small group. They ignore other people. In Islam, there isn't. They're all brothers. You see a Muslim, you say salam alaikum. And be aware of hatred, because it is the one that's gonna shave. See, it doesn't shave the head. It's gonna shave the deen, takes it away. When people start to hate one another, despise one another, disrespect one another, they're likely to fight one another, and religion will go away. When people start fighting one another, they're gonna kill, they're gonna steal, they're gonna lie, because they're now thinking the other people are not equal, they're less than them. باب الألفة. حدثنا أحمد بن عاصم حدثنا سعيد بن عفير قال حدثني ابن وهب عن حيوة بن شريح عن دراج عن عيسى بن هلال الصدفي عن عبد الله بن عمرو بن العاص عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن روح المؤمنين لا يلتقيان في مسيرة يوم وما رأى أحدهما صاحبه. هذا من باب الألفة. أرواحهما تتلاقى عن بعد مسيرة يوم وما رأى أحدهما صاحبه. So now this is a chapter how believers will feel kindness and likeness to one another regardless of the distance between them. In this hadith, Rasulullah say the soul of believers, they will meet even they're far away, the distance that takes you a whole day to walk, because they like one another, they love one another. Even if they're physically not next to one another, their souls are still there. So this is how a person feels towards another believer. وعن ابن عباس قال النعم تكفر والرحم تقطع ولم يرى مثل تقارب القلوب. Ibn Abbas, this is his opinion, this is an athar, so this is not a hadith. He says sometimes people will disregard a favor done on them. This is called kufr ni'mah. Somebody done you good, you're not grateful or thankful. Some people do that. Some people will cut the ties of the kinship, they ignore it. But hearts that are similar always stay together. So good people stay with good people, bad people with bad people. So whoever interested, you see people who are drug addicts, they like being drug addicts together. Those people who are drunkies, they drink together. Whatever keeps them together, they stay together. So believers, the hearts of the believers stay together, and this connection is bigger than the connection of blood or connection of tribal or ethnic or country and so on. The hearts of the believers, the connection to one another. وعن عمير بن إسحاق قال كنا نتحدث أن أول ما يرفع من الناس الألفة. So some of the tabi'een, Umayr ibn Ishaq, he said, we used to say the first thing that will be lost among the believers is the ulfa, the kindness and likeness of one another. That's the first thing we're going to lose before societies get destroyed. And this is an opinion, this is not a hadith. So here you're seeing how Imam al-Bukhari, with his adab about good character, he started talking about importance of being kind to your parents, then to your kinship, to your family, taking care of your wife, taking care of your children, then your friends, then your neighbors, and then interacting with people. How you're going to be nice to them, how you're going to be advising them, how you're going to treat with good people, with bad people, and hear about that believers like one another. So it's like building character. Slowly, he's bringing a theme and moving on. And inshallah, we'll see how he's going to move with it the rest of his book, inshallah. So we'll stop here from this chapter. Yes.
Also in importance as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. So he gives the importance first to parents. This is the best that you're supposed to be towards. Now, yes.
With طلاب each other, I know we have some hadith, يعني صحيح ضعيف, I don't know exactly, but لا تدخلوا الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولا
تؤمنوا حتى
ولا تؤمنوا حتى
تحابوا. This hadith that we read is similar to it. You're not going to enter Jannah حتى تسلموا ولا تسلموا حتى تحابوا أولا أدلكم على شيء إذا فعلتوا تحاببتم أفشوا السلام بينكم. This is close to the meaning. Yeah, different wordings, yes. Yeah, you cannot be true believers if you don't love one another. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. Cannot be a full believer until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. You mean brother in Islam. So all of this should be there. The hearts should be there. So Islam is not about being isolated. You go on the top of a mountain, you pray, you fast, and you make dhikr day and night, and you ignore the whole community, society, humanity, and everything. No, you're gonna live with people. You're gonna tolerate the harm you're gonna get from them, and you try to be a beacon of good. You spread good around you. Be a positive impact wherever you live. You're gonna be negativity. It's easy to isolate yourself from people, but you don't want to be isolated. Only time be isolated if the harm is tremendous. If they start affecting you, you don't find an impact, you're finding the negative impact on you. You live in a community where there are very few believers or hardly can find them, and everybody's dragging you away from Islam, then you're gonna be isolating yourself from it. But majority of time, alhamdulillah, everywhere you go, you're gonna find a group of brothers that you can come together, remember Allah, pray together, and you make dua to one another. So a brother was asking me about a concept of intention, because we know when you do good or bad, if you do something good, you're gonna reward it 10 times or more. If you intend to do something good, you don't do it, you get 1 time, good reward. If you do something bad, you're gonna count as 1 sin for you. If you want to do something bad, you didn't do it, it counts as a hasana for you. However, there are levels of intention and good in it. So one of the ulama, he put it as a piece of poetry. مراتب القصد 5 فخاطر فحديث النفس هاجس ذكر يليه هم فاستمع إلا الأخير فعزم كلها رفعت ففيه الإثم قد وقع. That there are 5 levels. One is just a thought comes to your mind. So you talk to yourself, should I do this? Nah, it's crazy. Then an obsession, you start thinking more and more of it. Then it's like an intention, probably I should do that. So all of this, you're not responsible, you're not going to be held accountable for it. And then the last one, al-azm. I want to do it, you have a plan, you want to do it, and something prevents you from doing it. You want to, your neighbor is bothering you a lot, you're going to hurt him. You're going to, I don't know, burn his car or something. You got all the tools, you're going to go out there and the police car going around and he stopped. You're responsible for that because you've done every intention to it. If you stop before doing it out of fear of Allah, you'll be rewarded for it. But what stopped you is not the fear of Allah, something else, you'll be responsible for that. So those who intended harm for believers, And the only thing stopped them because they couldn't do it. They're responsible for that intention. People who thought about it said, no, taqillah, I shouldn't be doing it. Then, as long as for the fear of Allah to stop them, they'll be rewarded for stopping it. So it depends how much planning it is. Sometimes bad thoughts come to a human being. As long as you reject it, turn away from it, you're good. Once you accept the bad feeling, the bad ideas, and you plan everywhere to do something bad, and the only reason you didn't do it because you couldn't, you're responsible for that. It's the hadith that telling us, like people with money. A good person with good money, he's going to spend for the sake of Allah. He's going to be rewarded. A knowledgeable person with no money, he say, if I had money, I will do what that rich good person will do. He's going to get the same reward. Because Allah knows his heart. If you give him money, he's going to do it. And then you have a bad person with money, he's spending it in everything that is haram. He's sinful. And you have another person say, if I had his money, I'm going to do like that bad person. He's going to be taking the same account as him. The intention here is solid. So the only thing preventing the good person from doing charity because he doesn't have the money. Allah knows him, he will reward him for it. And that bad person, only thing preventing him from doing sins because he doesn't have the money. He's trying to get it, so to do haram. He's going to be responsible for it. So it has to be serious intention. So this serious intention, what they call azm. That's it. Have a plan, he wants to do it, and something prevented him from doing it other than the fear of Allah.
شيخ السائل بيسأل هو في الاسم سواء
نعم.
المعنى سواء حرفيا ولا هو تعذيب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فيه اسم هم الاثنين عليهم اسم ولكن ليس سواء.
نعم دائما هناك يعني كفر دون كفر وإثم دون
هل ده
إثم.
المعنى؟
نعم. So he's asking that they will be sinning the same. Sinning the same is still to a degree. If somebody intended to kill someone, he's worse than somebody thought about killing someone, he didn't kill him. But he still can be responsible for it. How much response? It's up to Allah. Because Allah knows in the heart how bad his intention was. Because bad intentions can lead somebody to reach that level. So Allah knows how bad it was.
How does this ruling reconcile with the story of Musa alayhi salam and the young child, the Fata, who Allah commanded him to kill him because he was going to do bad things? So is this the whole point was that this child doesn't end up doing the bad things, but now since he has the intention to, or that he was going to?
Yeah, but it wasn't done as a favor for the child. It was done as a favor to the parents. Because the parents were good people.
So
he's gonna bring hardship and heartbreak to them and sorrow. So Allah saved the parents, not the child.
So the child is held accountable.
It's up to Allah. It's up to Allah. But the favor was done for the parents.
Okay.
In fact, this is one of the arguments against the Mu'tazila. The Mu'tazila, they have in their idea that Allah is 100% fair and everything he's doing it out of fairness that we should recognize. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah say, yes, Allah is fair, everything is done out of fairness and wisdom. Sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't. Mu'tazila, being arrogant with their mind, say, no, we always know it. So somebody asked him, you have somebody who was sinning and he was about to commit a sin and Allah took his soul before he committed sin. Say, okay, Allah has blessed them. He took his soul before he committed sin because he had mercy on him. He said, how about another person? Allah allowed him to do the sin. So why he done this to this person and not that to the other person? So this is unfair. Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah say there is fairness, there is wisdom, but we don't see it. Because Allah doesn't have to explain it to us. No, we should always see it. No, there's limitation to the logical mind. Like here, the story of Musa with Al-Khadir, that there are things, if you don't know it, it appears bad. But once you know what's behind it, then you know it is the right thing, it's fair. So this just we're given as example. Musa doesn't know everything. Even Al-Khadir doesn't know every action. In this situation, Allah has explained to him things of ghaib, what will happen in the future, that this is the best course of action. And Allah has that knowledge. We don't have it. So you always trust the process that Allah, what He's doing is full of justice and wisdom, and that His action is the best action. If we don't see it, because we don't have the information, it's lack of our ability to understand, not lack of fairness. And that will explain a lot for the atheists when they see disaster happening to people, earthquakes, wars, and so on. Innocent people die, suffer, and so on, and they haven't done anything bad. Why they should be punished? We see the children of Gaza, they're trying to go to school, they're bombarded, their parents are killed, they burn, they die, and so on. Say, where's the fairness? Where's your God? Some people say, the atheists. What you say, Allah has a wisdom behind it. We don't see it. He doesn't have to answer us. He doesn't have to explain for us. There's a hereafter. If there is no hereafter, yes, life doesn't make sense, because there's a lot of bad people get away with bad things, and a lot of good people, bad things happen to them. But there's a hereafter. So al-akhirah will be the time for the full justice that everybody will see and nobody can argue about. This life, you have to accept that Allah is in control. He has a wisdom, He has a plan, and whatever is happening is the best way to happen. And at the end, وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. At the end, those who have taqwa, the end result will be good for them. Even if it appears in this life that it's not good, but at the end will be good for them. So that's one should trust it. This is the belief that one needs. If somebody only believes in things that he comprehends, they're worshipping their logic, their mind. They're not worshipping Allah. Inshallah, we'll continue with the fiqh part. Maybe we have 5 minutes. عدد ركعات الوتر أقل الوتر ركعة لحديث ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما أن رجلا سأل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن صلاة الليل فقال صلاة الليل مثنى مثنى فإذا خشي أحدكم الصبح صلى ركعة واحدة توتر له ما قد صلى. وفي رواية فإذا صلاة الليل مثنى مثنى فإذا أردت أن تنصرف فاركع ركعة توتر ما قد صليت. So when you bring witr, the least number of witr is 1 rak'ah. A man asked Rasulullah at night prayer, he said 2 rak'ah at a time, but you end it with 1 rak'ah, then make it witr, make it an odd number. So this is the least. وقال القاسم ورأينا أناسا منذ أدركنا يوترون ب3 وإن كلا لواسع أرجو أن لا يكون بشيء منه بأس. One of the tabi'een, al-Qasim, he said that everybody that I met, they make witr 3, but there is leeway. So as long as they're coming with an odd number, all of it will be accepted. وأعلاه 11 ركعة كما في حديث عائشة رضي الله عنها لما سألها ابن سلمة كيف كان صلاة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في رمضان فقالت ما كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يزيد في رمضان ولا في غيره على 11 ركعة يصلي 4 فلا تسأل عن حسنهن وطولهن ثم يصلي 4 فلا تسأل عن حسنهن وطولهن ثم يصلي 3 4 و4 و3. إذن هذه 8 So witr in Arabic is odd number. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Maximum is 13. Least is 1. Most common is 3. This is what Rasulullah used to pray 3. And we're going to have different narrations where he prayed 2, 2, 2, 2 and end up with 1. Or he might pray 4 and 4 and pray 3. Or he might pray longer number and then make his witr 5 continuous. Yes. وفي صحيح مسلم عن عائشة رضي الله عنها قالت كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي من الليل 13 ركعة يوتر من ذلك ب5 لا يجلس في شيء إلا في آخرها. There's one narration, he prayed 13 rak'ah, and the witr out of these 13 were the last 5 rak'ah. He prayed it continuously. He wouldn't sit till the last one. So he doesn't have tashahhud every 2. So he prayed 5 rak'ah witr in continuation. So this is one way of doing it. وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الوتر حق فمن شاء فليوتر ب5 ومن شاء فليوتر ب3 ومن شاء فليوتر ب1. أخرجه أبو داود والنسائي وابن ماجه. In one narration, Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said that making witr is haqq, is the true. Whoever wants, he can make it 5 or make it 3 or make it 1. وصفته يصلي 13 ركعة يفتتحها بركعتين خفيفتين ثم يصلي ركعتين طويلتين ثم يصلي ركعتين دون اللتين قبلهما ثم صلى ركعتين دون اللتين قبلهما ثم صلى ركعتين دون اللتين قبلهما ثم صلى ركعتين دون اللتين قبلهما ثم أوتر فذلك 13 ركعة. So one time, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was described by one of the Sahaba, Zayd ibn Khalid al-Juhani. He wanted to see how he prays at night. He said he started with 2 light rak'ah, just light. And then he prayed very long, 2 rak'ah, very long. And then every rak'ah he prayed was a little bit shorter than the one before, shorter. And then he came to witr and prayed one witr, and he prayed 13 rak'ah this way. So this is one way of doing it. وفي رواية عائشة كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا قام من الليل افتتح صلاته بركعتين خفيفتين ثم صلى 8 ركعات ثم أوتر. So sometimes he will start with 2 light rak'ah, then 8 rak'ah, 8 of them, and then he will make his witr. وفي رواية فلما أسن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وأخذه اللحم أي كثر لحمه زاد وزنه جعل تلك 8 6 ثم يوتر ب7 ثم يصلي ركعتين وهو جالس يقرأ فيهما قل يا أيها الكافرون وإذا زلزلت. And there's another narration when he got older, got a little bit heavier, he started praying at night 8 rak'ah, and he make witr in number 7 and pray 2 rak'ah after that. ومنها يصلي 11 ركعة يسلم بين كل ركعتين ثم يوتر واحدة. One of it he will pray 11 rak'ah, 10 of them, and every time make salam after each 2, and at the end he pray 1 with witr. ويصلي 11 ركعة 4 بتسليمة واحدة ثم 4 مثلها ثم 3. And there is one will pray 4 and 4 and 3. So there are different ways of doing it. At the end, he never prayed more than 13 rak'ah. If he want to pray longer, he made his recitation longer, his ruku' longer, his sujood longer. So does it mean you're not allowed to pray more than this? And here you have ijtihad al-ulama. You see, since Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never increased it, you shouldn't. But it was reported some of the Sahaba, some of the Tabi'een prayed more than 13 rak'ah. So that's where people say it's probably permissible to pray more, and that's why you see people when they're praying Taraweeh, they might pray more than 13 rak'ah. But it's better to stick to the Sunnah. But if somebody doesn't stick to the Sunnah, you don't call him Mubtada', because the early Salaf, Sahaba and Tabi'een, they've done pray more than 13. But the best way is to make sure that you don't pray more than 13. But if it's done more than 13, it is not haram, it's not a sense, it's bid'ah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Would you say that a person would be rewarded more for following exactly how the Rasul?
Yes. Yeah. It's better when you when you follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're gonna get reward for the salah and you get reward for the sunnah. It's like when you make tasbih after salah. If you're counting on your finger, you're getting the ajr of dhikr, you're getting the ajr of sunnah. If you count on misbaha or a counter, the digital analog counter, whatever, you're getting the ajr for the dhikr, but you're not getting ajr of sunnah counting on the finger. So the same thing, whenever you do something and you stick to the sunnah, then you get an extra reward. A lot of ulama al-usul, they tell you السنة القولية واجبة والسنة الفعلية مستحبة. That when sunnah is verbal, so some tell you do that, it's wajib to do it. But if it's only something he did in order to do, it is mustahab to do, but it's not wajib to do. So this is the general rule. Unless you have qarina, you have an evidence that will elevate it to a higher level, make that action, make it wajib. So every condition will have its own way of doing it. And that's where you might have ijtihad al-ulama. I'll tell you, like hadith Aisha, he never prayed more than 13. He said, well, if it was permissible, they have done it more. But if that was true, then the Sahaba, none of them would pray more than 13, and some of them did, and the Tabi'i in the same way. Then here we know that, well, it is permissible then. But as I said, it's better. If you follow the Sunnah, you get more reward for following the Sunnah.
Did Rasulullah ever prayed a nafila or a voluntary prayer with only without saying taslim after 2, meaning he continued with 4 but sat in the middle?
The appearance in this description that he did, that he prayed 4 and 4. So it means he prayed 4, so he prayed 2 and make tashahhud, 2 and taslim, and then he done it. Although when he was asked about it, he said mathna mathna. So it is better to do with 2 and 2, and it is permissible that sometimes you do 4 and 4. هل يقعد بين الشفع والوتر ويسلم عند الإيثار ب3؟ وقال ابن نصر المرزوي وقد روي في كراهة الوتر ب3 أخبار بعضها عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، وذكروا قوله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا توتروا ب3 تشبهوا بالمغرب ولكن أوتروا ب5، لكن سنده ضعيف. وفي رواية عن أبي أيوب ومن شاء فليوتر ب3، والجمع بينهما أنه يحمل النهي على صلاة ال3 بتشهدين فيشبه صلاة المغرب. وقال ابن القيم وسألنا أبا عبد الله الإمام أحمد إلى أي شيء تذهب في الوتر تسلم في الركعتين؟ قال نعم. قلت لأي شيء؟ قال لأن الأحاديث فيها أقوى وأكثر عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في الركعتين. وسئل عن الوتر قال يسلم في الركعتين، وإن لم يسلم رجوت ألا يضره، إلا أن التسليم أثبت عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. فمنه أن الإيتار ب3 بتشهدين كصلاة المغرب لم يأتي فيه حديث صحيح صريح، بل لا يخلو من كراهة، ولذلك نختار أن لا يقعد بين الشفع والوتر، وإذا قعد سلم وهو الأفضل. So when you praying witr and one decide to pray 3 ruk'ah witr, there is a prohibition of making it like Maghrib. And there are 2 ways to get out of it. Either you pray 2 ruk'ah, make the sleep, then pray the 3rd one, or you pray 3 ruk'ah, but you don't sit for tashahhud after the 2nd one. You make your tashahhud taslim at the end. So these are the ways you get out of it. However, if somebody done it like Maghrib, it's still acceptable, but there is karaha. So it's not recommended that you do it this way. So, because I know depending on certain madhahib, they will pray it like Maghrib. They pray 3 ruk'ah, 2, and they make tashahhud, don't make taslim, stand for the 3rd one. It's like Maghrib, they're praying it. But to follow the best way and not having the karaha is 2 and 1, or 3 continuous with the end tashahhud and taslim. So inshallah we'll stop here because it's time for the Isha. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.